Hello, how you guys doing tonight? We sorry I didn't get the Premier League match of the week video in today. Tottenham against Leicester City. Uh, Brendan Rodgers is on his way to getting set. Uh, Excited for the game tomorrow. I'll probably be up to watch Inter and Udinese. Uh, it is too late to count out Juventus. All the haters are ready to say Juventus are finished. Juventus finished club. Juventus rest in peace. Rest in peace. Juventus. It's too early. The rivals are going to beat up on each other. We have Napoli and Milan. We have Atalanta and Roma. It's an early season. A lot of things can change on a week to week basis. It's too early to write out Juventus. The big picture is that despite the fact that even though Juventus should be in the knockouts because FINO ALLA FINE, it's not over. Maccabi Haifa, two straight matches against Maccabi Haifa. We should beat them both. PSG should beat Benfica both times. PSG should get ready for the Champions League. It is never too late. But what makes me nervous about our Champions League qualification for the knockouts is that the last time we missed out from the group stage to the knockouts, Antonio Conte, Galatasaray. We made it to the semifinals and the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Torino was hosting the Europa final when we got sent down to the Europa League. Benfica knocked out Juventus from the Europa League the last time we were in the Europa League. And Juventus are against Benfica in the group stage. What also makes me nervous is the fact that if UEFA is rigging this, that they're scripting this with the VAR helping Benfica get the goal. Remember that? If they're scripting this, UEFA, they want if you have Chelsea in the Europa League, if you have United and Arsenal and Juventus or Inter, you have a lot of big clubs in the Europa League. UEFA want to rig this where Ronaldo scores big against Juventus. Oh my God. If they want to rig it that way, if Juventus gets them down to the Europa League, 100% they're going to draw them against Man United. Because that is what they do. That is UEFA type things that they want to do. The Europa League is completely irrelevant as far as I can tell. Okay, Juventus are in the top four. They're in the Champions League next year. The Juventus are still rebuilding. They're getting players back. They're getting new players in the squad like Federico, no, Gatti, the center back. Federico Gatti of Juventus. Federico Gatti. Get Federico Gatti in the rotation. He replaced Leonardo Bonucci. He's in there with Bremer, the center back from Brazil. You have yourself a center back pairing for the future at Juventus. Bring in Antonio Conte to Juventus. Antonio Conte took the cash from Chelsea and went back to Italia, homesick, won the league. Antonio Conte is a Don master to give himself the millions of dollars from the Premier League. He's not extending his contract yet because he is monitoring the Juventus situation. If Juventus get sent down to the Europa League, if Juventus do not impress at all against the big sides, guess what? Antonio Conte is coming back to Juventus. Antonio Conte. It began with Antonio Conte in 2012, 2011. It began with Antonio Conte. It all ended the Scudetto run against Inter and Antonio Conte. That was an ego type of move for Antonio Conte to end what he started at Juventus. Antonio Conte, it all begins again with Antonio Conte, and this time Antonio Conte can stay with Juventus and complete the job until the very end. To not only make Juventus winners of Serie A, but also winners in Europe. Antonio Conte took Inter to the Europa League final. had a hell of a battle with Barcelona in the round of 16, with Chelsea in the round of 16, right after winning the English Premier League. I say Chelsea battled very well. Antonio Conte, you're not going to play like a coward. You're going to score the first goal, and Antonio Conte says, hey, we're going to play good defensive football, but once you get the ball back, we're not going to sideways pass play like cowards. We're going to try to move it forward. That's what Antonio Conte is going to do. We're going to push up these fullbacks. We're going to attack the other side, but the fullbacks have a lot of work. They have to help out in defensive duties. The fullbacks will push up the pitch to help out in attack. Antonio Conte is the guy that is needed to give Dusan Vlahovic his Ballon d'Or-esque scoring record. Juventus already have Locatelli and Pogba and Vlahovic and Kostic crossing balls. Quadrado, you need to get rid of. Wingbacks, fullbacks, you need more fullbacks. Sandro is not it. Juventus needs some fullbacks that will be addressed in the transfer window in the future. The future is bright for Juventus, even though they're struggling with Massimiliano Allegri right now. If Juventus remain unbeaten for the next couple of weeks before face-off against Milan, if Milan and Juventus are the last unbeaten teams, Allegri is slowing down the club. Allegri is not optimizing the results of Juventus. But if Juventus and the defending Scudetto holders are unbeaten in points, then you show why Juventus are easily talented enough for the future despite all of the injury problems. I think Juventus cannot achieve its future objectives of being back to one of the best clubs in the world until Antonio Conte is allowed to take charge of the Bianconeri. Massimiliano Allegri, without the legendary Gianluigi Buffon and Chiellini and Barzaghi and Bonucci, a perfect pairing. Bonucci was made elite because of Barzaghi and Chiellini. Bonucci was a fine regista, but Bonucci as a defender at Chiellini alongside Teroi being an elite defender. Chiellini gets the best player, and Bonucci gets the second or third best option. That's what we're talking about for Juventus right here. This is a legendary backline with Buffon and the BBC for Juventus. You're not every day do you have three defenders with very different capabilities like Buffon and Chiellini and Barzaghi. I do believe that Plummer does not commit penalties that often as Matisteric, that playing for Brazil, among the best in the world, handling these Brazilian world-class playmakers in practice. I think Plummer is a perfect addition for Juventus. We have to move on from settling for 0-0 draws against Sampdoria and whatnot. You bought in Locatelli to be an elite playmaker. You must allow Locatelli to go box to box to be an elite playmaker, to show some fine grinta for a young player. You need Locatelli to showcase what he can do with the ball. You need Locatelli to establish the freedom. That's what you have to do. You need to unleash the raging bull of Torino with Locatelli. He's a Juventino. He's a Juventus fan. That's what Conte will do. Conte will push the player to push the team, to be a facilitator. That's what Allegri is telling these guys to play passively, to play scared. That's what Allegri is doing. And that's what Juventus must get rid of right now. They must be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And that means that Allegri's inane, archaic ways of playing to not make a mistake for the sake of not playing for a mistake has to end right now. The table will change tomorrow. Juventus jump Udinese. Juventus can be a point behind Atalanta, Napoli. You've got Milan, you've got Inter, you've got Roma. You can have Juventus in the top four of the UEFA Champions League. It's time to get our players back and start pushing our rivals right now. Juventus will be back. It remains to be seen if Allegri is the guy to get the job done. We need more than ones. We need threes. That's what has to change.